What's up, you guys? Hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Back with another amazing training for you guys. This one's going to be a very quick, simple, effective that hopefully you can take from this training and immediately start implementing into your life. That's the goal for this one. That's why it is so quick and simple. But we want to teach you guys how to build a balanced plate. So I'm going to share my screen here in a second, but we want to go over kind of the main four groups that you're going to see on a plate typically. So we've got vegetables, fats, lean protein, and then your starchy foods. And then, of course, like those veggies at breakfast time and other times can be swapped out for fruits, but then your fruits will also go into kind of that carbs and starchy category as well, depending on if it's like a banana or an apple or things like that. Um, so I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to kind of discuss how to balance your plate out. And then I also have another thing I'm going to show you where for portion sizes on how to help with that. And let me change this real quickly.
I think this is a good reminder too for the people that are wanting to make these changes, but they're not exactly comfortable or ready with tracking their food to the fullest yet. And then also vice versa. You've been tracking for a while, you're at a good spot, and now you want to learn how to maintain this progress and these results for the long term without having to be tied to your, tracker forever. This is a good reference point for what that's going to look like for you.
100%, exactly. Yeah, this is a very good starting and like if you can build the habit of when you look down at your plate, kind of seeing this diagram and building it off of that, it's going to make your life so much easier. And it's going to just kind of become part of a natural instinct when you're putting food on your plate, which makes it a lot easier to maintain the results that you've worked so hard for in the long run, or just kickstart building healthier habits. Um, so the first one is the biggest one that I want to talk about, veggies. And again, like I said, fruits can sometimes dabble in there. But veggies is going to be the main one. I want you guys thinking of your vegetables and the whole foods on that side of things as kind of like the main part of your meal. Because if we're looking at the vegetables with the micronutrients and all the vitamins and minerals and stuff, which are micronutrients that you're getting on there, a lot of people tend to forget about this on a health journey. I want that to be like the main portion of your meal. And then thinking about the other smaller things kind of as your sides. While in America, we tend to think about like your protein as the main portion and then everything else as your sides. I want you to kind of flip the switch in your brain with this plate just because we don't get enough vegetables in as it is. And if we can start thinking that way that I just explained, it's gonna like instinctually help us get in more vegetables. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think another piece of this, obviously the vegetables are green here, but making sure when you are choosing vegetables that you're choosing a multitude of colorful vegetables for different benefits. And we have other trainings on why eating the rainbow and all that fun stuff is important. So we can find that for you guys as well and link that below if that's something that you'd be interested in and showing you the actual benefits of the different kinds of micronutrients that come with each category or color of vegetable.
Yeah, eating the rainbow is huge. I harp on it a lot. We do have a lot of trainings on that for that. So let us know if you need that. Um, so yeah, that's half of your plate. And then now I kind of want to pivot and think about like, okay, now what are on our sides of the vegetables? Lean protein. We've talked about this a lot and stuff. So this is all of your like chickens, your fish. Of course, there's also beef in there as well. Look at your fat percentages though. If you are, of course, cooking at home. If you're at a restaurant, you can't really control that. Turkeys, things like that. So getting in that lean protein, about a fourth of your plate. That's really what I want you guys focusing on. And we're going to talk on in a second on like portion sizes for this as well on how to do this simplified. But really just looking at your plate, fourth of it. But another thing as I'm kind of going through this, I'm thinking if your plate is this big and if your plate is this big, we're going to have different portion sizes, right? So we still need to be mindful around that aspect of things. I want you thinking about the quantity of food like on the plate, not the actual plate size and filling that whole thing. Okay. And just adding a little tidbit in there. Um, and then to match that lean protein, a healthy carb or starchy option. So whether that be potatoes, quinoa, rice, sweet potatoes, any sort of beans is kind of going to be in the between both of those because are considered both a protein and a starch or a carb. So you guys know kind of the whole food sources for carbs. Again, some of your fruits for like in the mornings and stuff, or even a dessert style will fall into that category as well. And then last but not least is your fats. If you've ever seen a diagram like this before, you've probably also seen this be like your dairy, like the My Plate version says dairy instead of fats. Um, but that's going to be like the smallest amount on your plate. So whether that be maybe there is some sort of dairy with like sour cream or things like that, or maybe it's just like the extra virgin olive oil that you're using, or avocado that you're using, something like that. It's going to be the smallest amount. And the reason it's the smallest amount is because it's the most calorically dense. So when you look at a carb or a protein, there's 4 calories per gram for each of those. But when you look at a fat, there are 9 calories per gram. So there is a bigger jump in the caloric difference there. That's why it is a smaller amount of needs for that one. So screenshot this if you need this. I want to pivot over and kind of go over portion sizes next. If we can get this to load. Oh, perfect. Okay. So, a lot of you might be thinking, oh, I need to weigh out my food. I need to use a measuring cup every single time. And sure, probably a little bit more accurate, right? But we don't always have access to that. So I want to help you guys kind of learn how to visualize this. And it's a guesstimation, right? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Even when you're measuring it by a measuring cup, it's not perfect. So this is kind of what I want you to think about because you have your hand wherever you're going, right? Um, so for a starch, a cupped handful is kind of what I want you guys thinking about, right? And if you're a larger man, your hand's probably going to be a little bit larger, and so it's going to match you. If you're a smaller female, your hand's going to match you, right? And so thinking like, oh, how do I know it's really what my body needs? Because your body's proportionate for what it needs. So going off of your hand size. And then for that smaller section there, the size of your thumb. A lot of people you can also see will do kind of 2 fingers, but the size of your thumb is a good indication there for how much fats, whether it be avocado, nuts, seeds, whatever it is. And again, these are all based off of one portion. So if you have a little bit more knowledge where, okay, you get 2 cups of starch for your macro count and stuff like that. Just be mindful. So this is all one portion. Veggies, your fist. So your fist size is the amount of veggies for one portion for you. And then protein is your palm. So similar to your starch as it's like cupped and your veggies is a palm, but that makes sense because we're the equal ratios for those two for what your needs are. Okay. Does that make sense the way I explained everything there?
I like it. It's very helpful too, especially like you said, if you don't have the scale or tracker, measuring cup and all of those things, it's just an easy way to look at your plate and be like, okay, yep, XYZ, this all matches. Here we go. And I would also say making like I'm a fan of bowls, but you could also do this for a plate, but just like throwing everything into a bowl or on a plate, but just making the flavors different. Like you have a Mediterranean style bowl, or you have an Asian style bowl, or a Mexican style bowl, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, because then you're able to get in all 4 of these categories. Whereas if I'm making like a chicken quesadilla, okay, I've got my like carb and my protein and my fat from the cheese, but like where am I putting veggies in that?
You have to have like a side somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So just being mindful of those things.
I love that tip because even with what we're looking at right now, like the chicken, it looks like quinoa or rice or something, broccoli, and then maybe some nuts. You could do you could do just that and keep it very bland, or you could do a buffalo sauce, or you could do a teriyaki sauce, or you could do, oh gosh, what's another sauce that you could do?
Like a cilantro kind of
Yes.
sauce to make it
Yeah,
mix.
more like a Greek style sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's so many different things that you could do to flavor it up. We're not saying eat chicken, rice, and broccoli. We never know. I'm just saying that's an option if that's the easiest thing that comes to mind for you. Um, but yeah, screenshot this, you guys. Go back, rewatch it, and just kind of get these visualizations in your head and learning kind of what is what on your hands. And it's going to help you to start building those healthy habits. And if you do decide to go into macros, it'll also make the transition a little bit easier. And if you're coming out of macros, it'll make the transition of just like intuitively eating easier as well. So it's kind of like a stepping stone.
Yep, I love that.
Awesome. Sweet. All right, you guys. Well, hope this helps. Let us know if you need help with any of it. And as always, message us if you have any questions. And we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Bye.